Hello everyone. Today's topic is about Class 12 ISC Board, the working of the Congress Ministries, and we'll also talk about the Government of India Act 1935 and how the provincial autonomy came in India. So now this covers the syllabus, and it's another video about the genesis of Congress has already been uploaded in the channel. I'll keep the link in the description box. And so this is also known as, this phase is as a last phase, 1935 to 1947, when India got independence. So 1935, this date and this act is very important because it is one of the main source. Government of India Act 1935 is one of the main source for the Indian Constitution letter. There were other sources also, but this is a backbone or the pillar of the constitution of our today's constitution. So now these act, so I'll go to a little bit background. So there are 3 round table conferences, and only the Congress participated in the second round table conference. And in the third round table conference, which held in London in November 1932, without the representation by the Congress leaders, its discussion eventually led to the passing of the Government of India Act 1935. This act provided for the establishment of an all-India federation and a new system of government for the provinces on the basis of provincial autonomy, which is today's topic, main attraction. So federation. Federation is the division of power between the center and the states. So this has to be based on the union of provinces of British India and the princely states. There were some princely states. As we know, there were 560 plus princely states when India was given independence, and India get independence and the following the partition. So there was to be a bicameral federal structure and with disproportionate weightage. So this act obviously had some demerits, merits, and some difficult points. And so moreover, the representatives of the state were not to be elected by the people but appointed by the rulers, like the colonial rulers. Only 14% of the total population in British India was given the right to vote. Only 14. You can imagine the percentage of voters in India that time. Even this legislature, in which the princes were once again to be used to check and counter the nationalist elements, was denied any real power. So the princely states prince, who were representing the princely states, were also denied any power. Defense and foreign affairs, which were the most 2 important pillars of the government, were outside the control, while the Governor General retained special control over other subjects. Governor General and the governors were to be appointed by the British government and were to be responsible to it. In the provinces, local power was increased. Provincial autonomy. In the words only we can understand. Provincial means not the central one, but the states, and autonomy means independence. So the states got more powers through this act features. So in the provinces, local power increased. Ministers responsible to the provincial assemblies were to control all departments of provincial administration. But the governors were given special powers. Like they could veto legislative action. Veto means the power to change anything, like something is happening, like the governor has no real control over that, direct control, but he can veto that. Legislative means law-making power, and legislate on their own. Moreover, they retain full control over the civil service and the police. Like the 4 main pillars: defense, foreign affairs, police, civil service, like the bureaucracy, everything was in control of the Governor General through real powers or through veto. The act could not satisfy the nationalist aspirations, for both political and economic power continued to be concentrated in the hands of British government. This act obviously could not satisfy the nationalist leaders, who by then had thought something beyond their, Swaraj was their main goal that time, not dominion status, quote unquote, not dominion status, but direct independence, total independence was the goal of the Congress nationalist leaders. So they obviously were not satisfied with the features or the passing of the Act of Government of India Act 1935. Foreign rule was to continue as before. Only a few popularly elected ministries were to be added to the structure of the British administration in India. The Congress condemned the act with total disappointment But the federal part of the federal part, like this division between the center and the provinces, the states, this provincial, this federal part never came into action, but the provincial autonomy immediately came into operation. Like they're giving some independence or giving some powers to the provinces, put into operation. Bitterly opposed to the act, though the Congress was decided to contest the elections under the new act. So now we are moving part to the ministries. The Congress ministries was formed after the 1937 elections. 1937, important date. So this now we're moving towards this portion here. Though they condemned the act, Congress vehemently condemned the act, but they participated in the elections. So now the election campaign of the Congress met with massive popular response, and so people participated and supported the Congress immensely. Gandhi did not address a single election meeting. Without the absence of Gandhi, you can feel the charisma of Gandhi as a political leader. Despite his absence, people participated in it. The elections held in February 1937 conclusively demonstrated that a large majority of Indian people supported the Congress, which swept the polls in most of the provinces. So, in February 1937, the Congress contested the election, and despite some reluctance on part of Gandhi and others leaders, people supported them, and Congress won with a great majority in 7 out of 11 provinces. It's a very important number. And in 2 other provinces, Congress made coalition government, like support from other parties, and only in 2 provinces, like 7 plus 2, 9, then 2 left. In 2 provinces, in Punjab and Bengal, Congress could not form ministries, where in Bengal, in Punjab, Unionist Party, and Punjab was ruled by Unionist Party, and Bengal had a coalition of Krashak Praja Party and the Muslim League. So apart from Punjab and Bengal, where they were eventually respectively ruled by Unionist Party and Krashak Praja Party and Muslim League, in all other provinces, there were Congress. In 7, there were majority winners, and in 2, there were coalition winners. So it was a great achievement for Congress, and the 1937 elections is a major event in the Indian history, particularly in the history of India's struggle for freedom. So this portion majorly does with this, like the main features of provincial autonomy, how the provinces gotten independence over certain issues, but the main important issues of defense, foreign ministry, police, bureaucracy were kept under Governor General's power through direct powers as well as some veto powers. But still the provinces, and another thing we have to remember is a federation, which was mainly highlighted in the act, never came into operation. Now we will move on to the next part, which is about the working of the Congress ministries. Like in the syllabus, a critical account of the Congress ministries must be given. So again, I'll mention here one thing, that the syllabus, this chapter, first chapter of class 12 ISC board, comprises of the period from 1935 to 1947, which is known as the last phase, as it was the last phase of India's struggle for independence. But I have divided the chapter. As for the syllabus, there were Roman 1, you can see in the scope also, you will see Roman 1, 2, 3. So now today's lecture will only comprise of this portion of syllabus, like the provincial autonomy, Congress ministries, and how it was. So now coming back to the working of the Congress ministries, Congress had some limited powers with them, as we can see as per the acts and how when they won the 1937 elections in 7 provinces and 2 other in coalition. So, but with the limited powers and limitedness they have, they try to help people. How? They reduced their own salaries. They were only getting rupees 500 per month, the Congress ministers, and they traveled through. That time communication was difficult. They had to travel all across the country for giving lectures, for delivering, for meetings, for getting their ideas. So for that, they could struggle. They struggled in 2nd and 3rd class train. They tried to limit their expenses so that with that money they could help out people. They could reach more people, as India was a poor country by then. So the economy was very much degraded. So they try to help with their limited capacity they have. They set up new standards of honesty and public service. They undertook positive measures in several fields. They promoted civil liberties, repealed restrictions on press. Like press restriction was a very continuous feature in colonial state government. Like restrictions on press, freedom of opinion, speech and expression was tremendous. Radical organizations permitted trade unions, Kisan Sabhas, Kisan organizations to function and grow, curbed the power of the police and released political prisoners, including a large number of revolutionary terrorists. As we have done revolutionary terrorism, so the leaders who were violent in their activities were put behind the bars. They tried to release those prisoners. They tried to ease the police actions on students, on workers. They also tried to help people as they could. They passed agrarian legislation dealing with tenancy rights, security of tenure, rent reduction, relief and protection to peasant debtors. Trade unions felt freer and were able to win wage increases for workers. The Congress governments also introduced prohibition in selected areas and took Harijan upliftment. Like working for the lower class is already started. Like Harijan was a word used by Gandhi to denote the lower class people, the Dalits. So working for them, working for the backward classes had already emerged among the Congress. They tried to do what they could and paid greater attention to primary, higher technical education and public health, which was necessary. Public health and education are two main sectors where government need to invest more for people's betterment and welfare society. Support was given to Khadi and other village industries because of Swadeshi. Khadi is already related to boost the indigenous industries. Modern industries were also encouraged in technological developments. Technical education was given importance. So one of the major achievements of Congress ministries was the firm handling of communal rights. Like the policy of divide and rule was there from the very beginning in colonial rule. So that led to communal tension between Hindus and Muslims. So the Congress leaders tried to solve the problem of communalism and they tried to reduce the communal riots. The largest gain was psychological. People felt as they were breathing their air of victory and self-government. So the Congress, the win of this Congress in 1937 election was immense. The psychological effect was immense. People could believe in themselves that they can throw the colonialism out of India, they could free themselves. So that boost in the mental setup was very much necessary. So 1937 elections is a very important event in the history of India's struggle for freedom. So the period onwards, like from 1935 to 1939, witnessed several other important political developments. In a way, marked a new turn in the nationalist movement as well as the Congress. So the period like after the passing of the 1935 Government of India Act and like 1937 election and thereafter after the 1939 again the Second World War broke out, another event and all. So this period 1935 to 39, these 4 years were very important. The struggle for India, it gave a new turn towards the struggle as well as it was very important for the history of the Congress, the party itself. So now I'll end my lecture here today. So working of the Congress ministries is being done totally. This portion of the syllabus class 12 ISC board. Apart from this is also important while reading in this history for freedom struggle. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, share, subscribe history lessons for more interesting historical facts and press the bell icon for regular updates. Thank you.